I think last time I was in on retreat with the Ipswich Sangha, I mentioned a particular tape that I listened that made me a Buddhist, and this is the tape. And it was the Kiss a Go to Me story, but there's something else in the tape, and that was Christmas Humphreys, who was the person whose life the tape kind of recorded. It was a BBC radio thing. It was about his life. He was a High Court judge, and he said that the law of karma is like British justice. It always gets its man. So, you know, if you've squashed a mosquito 5 lifetimes ago, you will never get away with it. The inevitable law of karma. Well, karma is not like that. Just to, you know, relieve any worries, it is not like that. But the word karma has actually entered the English language, hasn't it? Not always kind of very accurately. I remember I was on a train coming back from maybe a presidential visit, might have been up in Manchester, and there were these lads on the train, and they've obviously been partying the weekend away because they look really, really wasted. And they are talking about somebody, another lad who's not there, and who got himself into trouble. And they say, it's his karma, isn't it? It's his karma. That's what it is. And as a Buddhist, I kind of laughed at that, how they were using it. Actually, presumably they were talking about his karma vipaka, because karma just means action, doesn't it? It just means willed action. And the result of that action is karma vipaka. So they were talking about his karma vipaka. And karma, when I first came upon the word karma, it sounded really kind of mysterious and esoteric. It can also sound fatalistic. I think in kind of Hinduism, they've got a very, very different take on karma. In India, the law of karma is used to keep the lower castes in their place, because you have to accept your karma in Hinduism. So if you're born in a low caste, you need to accept where you are, not try and get out of that. Completely opposite to the spirit of Buddhism. It's not mysterious. It's a natural law, karma. It says what your mind dwells on, you will become. Here's a quote from Arthapriya's excellent book on karma and rebirth. I really kind of recommend that, and it goes into this subject, big subject, in a lot more detail. He says, karma is a moral principle that governs human conduct. It declares that our present experience is conditioned by our past conduct, and that our present conduct will condition our future experience. Yeah. So what your mind dwells on, that you will become. Now, the title of this talk given to me was Karma, Actions Have Consequences. And this brings out a particular element of karma that can sound about a bit kind of doom-laden. You know, you will pay the consequences. That's what it seems to be saying. Well, certainly, if you behave badly, if you behave kind of unskillfully, there will be consequences to that. But what it doesn't bring out, that particular way of talking about karma, actions have consequences, is that karma also brings about opportunities. Karma is a key. Used awarely, used with attention, karma is a real key to change. And I'm hoping to draw that out a bit more. We are what we are, the Buddha said, not by accident. We are affected, we are conditioned by all sorts of factors, our upbringing, our environment, and all the rest of it. But we're also largely conditioned by ourselves, we're conditioned by what our mind dwells on. So there's an English saying, in a way, that actually goes some way towards this. You've probably heard of this. I'll read it out. Sow a thought and you reap an action. Sow an action and you reap a habit. Sow a habit and you reap a character. Sow a character and you reap a destiny. Not clear who the quote comes from, because I found it on Google. So many people claim that quote. Somebody from Victorian times first presumably came out with it, and Stephen Covey has claimed it, and so others have claimed it. But what it brings out for me is that thought, what you think, what you particularly what you return to in your mind, the thoughts you return to, the thoughts you dwell on, create habits, create ruts in your mind, create kind of channels in your mind through which your mind just kind of flows into. And a habit kind of repeated and repeated and repeated is hard to change. Not impossible to change, but it is hard to change. Now, some of you, probably like me, were smokers. Maybe some of you still smoke, I don't know, but I was a cigarette smoker, and it was so hard. It was so hard to give up. I was really strongly kind of addicted to it, but I gave up. Not on the first attempt or the second or the third, but I gave up. And it shows me that really entrenched habits can change, can be left behind. Yeah. Now, we use karma in Buddhism to change. The metta bhavana is a karma. Ethical behavior is a karma. Generosity, gratitude, kindness, friendship are all karmas. They're all kind of willed actions. Karma is intention. I should make that point clear. Actions have consequences is a title, but not all action is karma. Karma is willed action. It's intentional action. Bhante gives an example of this, that if you drop a brick on your toes and you do this unintentionally, it's not karma, but it will still hurt your toes. So there can still be effects. I would say if you keep on dropping bricks on your toes, it probably is a karma. You need to look at your unmindfulness, don't you? While you've still got toes. So karma is intention. Yeah. All those things I mentioned, the metta bhavana, ethical behavior, generosity, gratitude, if you do them, if you just go through the motions, they don't have the effect. You have to live your life with full attention. To quote the title of a very good book, you need to be present, you need to be mindful. And if you are mindful and present, you live your life with full attention. Karma is the key to change. It really is the key to change. Now, one of the wonderful things about being an order member and being a mitra too, being around the center for some time, is that you see people change, don't you? You see people come in, to drop in class, you see them come into a course the first night, and you see them change. If they stay, you see them change. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. It's the equivalent, the spiritual equivalent, I think, of springtime. You see somebody kind of growing into their potential. And no doubt the people here on the retreat have been witnessed by other people here on the retreat in their growth, in their development. It really is touching to see that. And that is the use of karma. I want to mention, it seems like a miracle when you see people change like that, but it's the miracle of karma. I want to talk about two friends who I saw really, really grow. One was a woman who turned up at 78. She had been traveling in Asia, 78 on her own, and she'd recontacted Buddhism and wanted to meet Buddhists, become a Buddhist, 78. The other was a young man who came from Mexico, came to work with me at Windhorse in Cambridge, and he was just 19, just become a mitra before he left Mexico. She was in the autumn of her life, and he was in the springtime of his life. And both of them committed to change. Both of them committed to working with their minds. She constrained to some extent by lifelong habits, but she was so dynamic. She's a wonderful person. He, at 19, not so constrained, but without the experience of life in a way that she had carried. She had seen things about life that really helped her in her spiritual journey. He was still kind of learning that. And she got ordained. She saw no reason why old age should prevent her getting ordained. She got ordained in her 80s. And I remember in her late 80s, as an order member, just giving radio interviews about how important it was to seize the human opportunity because death was coming. He, for a time, was the youngest order member. And they never met, unfortunately. These two great friends of mine, they never met. But I'm sure if they had met, they would have been kindred spirits. A lot of age separated them, but they were kindred spirits. They were applying the Dharma. They were engaging with karma. And if you engage with karma, if you engage with skillful action, the results are guaranteed. They're not random. Life isn't determined. You practice ethical action, skillful action, and it works. Now, a very good formulation of karma are the first two verses of the Dhammapada. And sometimes it's not noticed that they are formulations of karma, but I'll say what they are. Experiences are preceded by mind, led by mind, and produced by mind. If one speaks or acts with an impure mind, suffering follows as the wheel follows the cart. Experiences are preceded by mind, led by mind, and produced by mind. If one speaks or acts with a pure mind, happiness follows like a shadow that never departs. And so these two verses are saying that mind is primary. Our experience of ourselves, the world, other people, all come out of our mind. Our mind is a bit like the spectacles we put on. We put spectacles on, moody, dark, moody spectacles. We see a world that is dark and moody. Maybe you quite like that. Maybe you like French existential films. We put on clear glasses, not rose-tinted glasses, because skillful action isn't about being rose-tinted. It's about being rooted in the real, in how things really are. You put those glasses on and you see clearly how things are. You see things with appreciation. You see life, the world, oneself with an appreciation. And you know, it's changed. And this was a revelation to me when I first came across this. The Dhammapada was the first book that I kind of read. It was a revelation that my experience was rooted in my own mind, and therefore that I could change my mind and change my experience of other people, change my experience of the world, change my experience of myself. The key was in my own mind. And Subhuti's great talk yesterday, I thought it was wonderful that he said that the four reminders, we know them, they're in our mind, we know them. And while the formulation might be very, very useful, we need to contact that in our own mind, make a connection with that in our own mind. So you need to do this firsthand, don't you? You need to see that your thoughts, your words, your deeds create your experience. We need to see how we can change that creatively. We need to change the ruts and let our mind flow creatively, positively in the channels, in the rivers, in the streams of the positive precepts. We need to see firsthand, and we do see it, don't we? We really do see it, that selfishness causes suffering for ourselves, it causes suffering for other people, it contributes to the suffering in the world. It really does. We need to see firsthand, and we do see it too, that selflessness, generosity, gratitude leads to happiness for ourselves. It leads to happiness for those around us, and it contributes to the happiness in the world, the meaning of the world. We need to have confidence in this, that if we act skillfully, if we follow the precepts, and not just the letter of the precepts, but the spirit, particularly the positive precepts, if we use it as a guide, we will change. We will recreate ourselves. We will become what we truly are. It's our nature to grow. Dukkha, suffering, is when we don't allow ourselves to, or circumstances don't allow us to. That is dukkha. That is suffering. So to finish, acting skillfully is guaranteed, the Buddha said, to have a positive outcome. But it's more positive than you can imagine. Right now, it's more positive than you can imagine. You're in a different place when you act skillfully. Karma without awareness equals the rot. Karma used with awareness is the key to freedom, the key to the fullest life, and it benefits ourselves and it benefits others. Yesterday I was thinking, lazily, I was thinking, which of these 4 reminders could you cut it down to 1, because time is short and I'm lazy. And listening to Charamani, listening to Arthapriya, and in a moment listening to Shubha, I think you can see that if you go deeply into any one of these 4 reminders, you find all the others. You find all the others there. I found it in Charamani's talk, I found it in Arthapriya's talk. It gets up close and kind of personal. So remember, karma is the key. It's a revelation that we can change our experience. We just need to engage with the Dharma. Thank you.